Guess what time it is? It's time to go. It's showtime.
If you could change any choice you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of the Inspired Choices Show, business optimization expert, Christine McIver.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show. Yes, I'm Christine McIver. I am the business optimization expert, the host of the Inspired Choices Show, and the CEO of the Inspired Choices Network. I'm thrilled that you are here. I'm really grateful if you are joining us live, if you're in the chat room, or if you'd like to come into the chat room and you're listening live, just go to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com/chat room, where we interact. We have a lot of fun. You can ask your questions and I will be answering them during the live episode. If you are listening in the replay, I would love you to put hashtag replay because it's really great to know who's been listening. And if you have any questions throughout the show, you can certainly post where you are watching and listening from, or feel free to send me an email, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. So we've got another show for you tonight that is really supporting you if you are a business entrepreneur, if you are someone who's thinking about starting your own business, or even if you're someone who is really on the edge of not sure, if you're not sure whether to continue with your business. Tonight, we're going to be talking about you do not lack creativity. Now, a lot of people might be wondering about that topic. How does that relate to business? I'll get into that in just a little bit. But I want you to know that when you are listening to my show here on the Inspired Choices Network, that you are listening to years of experience. I've actually been doing my own show for 14 years. I believe this is my 14th year that I've been doing this. And I've been in my own business now for just over 15 years. I love everything about business. When I was a little girl, I used to play business. It was my favorite game to play. To me, business is all about creating. And business, when you are in your creation, it should be pleasurable. So that's why this topic is something that is very dear to my heart. And it's something that I love to share and teach and guide my clients in showing them how they too can have more creativity and create that and really leverage that creativity in their business. So let's get into tonight's show. I am going to share with you the show notes and then we'll dive right in. Creativity is not reserved for artists or writers alone. Each human being has the abilities to be creative. Business entrepreneurs, this is your invitation to discovering your intersection of creativity and commerce. This show is tailored for entrepreneurs and innovators that will bring forth practical strategies to assist you igniting your creative potential to drive business growth. Whether you're launching a startup or revitalizing an established business, this show will demonstrate that creativity is not a rare gift, but a vital tool for entrepreneurial success. How many of you, and of course, I'm not seeing you raising your hand, but how many of you have this desire to be more creative, to be able to create more in your business, even to start? Like, I'd love to be in my own business, but I don't know where to begin. I don't know what I could actually be servicing for people, or I don't know how I could, what kind of products that people would be interested in. I'm sure that a lot of you struggle at times in trying to figure out what to do. And that what to do place can be a really dark and heavy place. If you're a writer, we all know about writer's block. And the same with someone who's an artist. We know when they just lack inspiration, nothing is coming to them. Well, for an entrepreneur, for someone who is in business, different than an artist or different from a writer, when you have a desire on your heart and maybe you get the idea that you Maybe you want to be a coach. Maybe you want to be a health coach, or you want to be a business coach, or you want to be some kind of coach. That's all well and fine. That's actually a title. That's not a service. That's not a product. And that is the moment where a lot of times this was for myself, I had this issue come up, and this happens for a lot of people that want to go into their own business, is they say, I want to be a coach, I'm going to be a coach, and they get very excited, and then they hit that wall. They hit that wall because they go, I don't know what I should be calling myself. I don't know what I should be putting out there. I don't know. I just don't know. Then what happens? Then most people will go online. They'll Google it, right? How many times have we heard people say, just Google it, just Google it. Go look at what other people are doing. Well, generally, when they go and look at what other people are doing, they're going to be looking at people who are already successful. Because whether you know people that are in their own business, if you know them, you're definitely going to go to the ones that you know that are successful, right? And if you don't know them and you're just doing an internet search, the ones that are successful, that are brilliant at their marketing, that are brilliant at their SEO, they are going to be the ones on the first page when you do your search. So what occurs then? Well, we go check them out, right? And then when we're checking them out, they are so successful. So you've got you or the individual over here that's just getting started or trying to figure out what to do. And then now they are searching other people who are incredibly successful. What occurs is we often go into a freeze situation. Because looking at other people, looking outside of you and looking at other people that are very successful can be incredibly overwhelming. So if you had any doubt in your world before you went and searched, I can guarantee you that you're going to search and find these very successful people, and that is going to create a flood of doubt within you. Because what we do as humans, we automatically do that, is we compare ourselves to other people. It's until you are incredibly conscious and catch yourself and stop yourself from comparing what you're doing to other people, it's an automatic. This is exactly what we do. So now you're looking at someone who is very successful and you're seeing all the things that they're doing, because somebody who's very successful is oftentimes doing a number of things, doing several things. They may have different services that they're offering. They may have programs. They may have, courses. So you're seeing all of this creation. And then you're seeing them being very active online. Possibly they have their own show. Possibly they're on a lot of different shows. There might be in magazines and articles. You get the drift. They are everywhere. And you are over here going, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to be like that? And you really go into massive contraction, which increases your doubt, which increases your fear. And then you start to hear voices, oftentimes voices of people that you've shared you're going to go into your own business, and they may have said something less than supportive. And then we go into maybe they were right. Maybe they were right. There's so many people that abandon their desires and creativity because of these situations. It really makes me sad. I've talked to so many people where they said, yeah, it's just not for me. And yet you could feel that yearning inside of them. They didn't say it with joy and say, hey, that's not for me, but I'm really happy over here doing this. There is that energy of give up. And a big reason why people give up is because they do not know where to begin. They do not understand about how critical creativity is in creating their business. And so I really want to invite you, if this is you or you know someone who is struggling in their business, struggling to kind of hit their stride or have what they're creating be very wanted and popular out there, I'd love for you to share this show with them. And if this is you, please stay tuned with us, because I'm going to go into a great deal of things that I want you to start to play with. But I want to invite you into allowing yourself to do something different so you could create something different. Creativity is the act of playing. It's the act of playing. So how many of us were great when we were young at playing, and maybe when we get together with some old friends or some really close friends, we start to play and laugh. But when it comes to business, we need to get serious, right? We need to get serious about what we're going to create. Well, I'll tell you something. When you go into that energy of we got to get serious, and I've been there, absolutely. I get serious about being creative though. But when you get serious, there's a contraction energy that starts, and you start to focus, and you're really, really looking at something deeply. And it's nearly like you're projecting energy at this creative item, service, or product. You're projecting energy at it, like, show up, show up. Well, can you imagine if someone was standing in front of you and they were yelling at you, come on, come on, come on, show up, show up, show me, show me, show me. And they were really pushing at you. It wouldn't be an energetic invitation, right? What happens for our minds and the energy of creativity, which we know is connected to play, what happens when we go into this concentration, when we go into this massive focus, is we literally shut out that play. We shut out that creativity. We're doing push energy. How many children do you watch in play do push energy? Now, I just had the visual of boys sometimes playing with trucks, and they want to take over somebody else, and they're pushing the trucks, maybe in the sand, and they're pushing, 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 and they end up fighting. So it becomes an intense energy. That's not the type of play and creative energy that you want to invite into your business. Now, I can tell you that if this is something that you struggle with, you probably continuously go into that heavy energy, because that's what you know. You hear you got to focus, you got to really put the time in, you need to do this, and you need to do this, and you need to do this. How many of us are watching what's going on out there and all the posts that people put out, and we're trying to get it right, and we're listening to what everybody else is saying, right? I know someone that I know several people that they talk about their morning program, both male and female. They talk about their morning program. This is what they do, and then they can focus, and then this, and then this. And so many other people will then begin to try to emulate their process. And generally, they will fail. They will fail because it's not connected to them, it's not part of their desire. If the way someone else performs in business or creates in business is not normal or doesn't feel natural to you, and you try to copy what they're doing in hopes to have the same outcome, it's not going to happen. What is so important is, this is something that I really want to encourage you to do, is watch what other people are doing. And when something excites you, when something pops for you and you go, oh, that's cool. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And you have an inner excitement, a spark that begins. That spark is your inspiration starting to wake up. Take that little piece from something that you've seen. Maybe it's a quote, maybe it's a post, maybe you're reading something and something pops for you. Put that in your tickle trunk of creativity. How many of us remember the tickle trunk? If you're from Canada, you know the tickle trunk is Mr. Dress Up, and he was so creative. I still to this day want my own tickle trunk. I'm not kidding. One day I will have a tickle trunk. Put these ideas into your tickle trunk. And when we get back, I'll tell you about the next steps as you are gathering up these sparks of inspiration I'll tell you about the next steps after we get back from this commercial break. You're listening to Christine McIver on the Inspired Choices Show here on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Yes, tonight we are talking all about you do not lack creativity. Now, that's a hell of a statement to make, right? Because I don't know everybody in the world. But what I do know is each and every one of us has an imagination. Your imagination is the key that unlocks your creativity. Are you willing to have an imagination in your business? Or have you decided that you need to get serious? It's time to be serious. It's time to make money, right? I wonder what money would say if we could actually talk to money and money would actually talk back. I think money would be like, all of this serious business is really boring for me. I want to have fun too. I want to play. Let's get creative, right? Here's something that popped into my mind when I was thinking about tonight's show is when do people get creative? What situations or circumstances do they get creative? And this was an interesting thing that popped into my head, but I want to share it with you. When someone is under duress, when someone is under stress, usually about someone else that they love, they get creative, right? When you see someone that you love dearly in a very terrible situation, you get creative, don't you? We do. We get very creative. I think about the mother who has a child that suddenly is maybe caught under the wheel of a car, right? She gets creative, right? She says, "No, I'm not having this." But she doesn't even think about it, right? She steps in and she gets creative. She picks up that car to move that child, right? Someone gets hurt. They immediately get creative. Maybe they have to rip their shirt and they have to tie a tourniquet on their leg. They have to suddenly grab someone and run when they physically haven't been feeling that energetic. When we are under duress for someone else, we can get incredibly creative. Why is it then that we can't do that for ourselves, right? Why is it? Well, this is what I know to be true, is when there's too much space, when we've got too much idle time, doubt starts to creep in, questioning ourselves whether that's right or wrong. We start to think about, well, if I do that, what are other people going to say? And we are weighing out all of this crazy in our mind that holds us back from taking action. That holds us back from taking action. Let's go back to that scenario about the children at the sand, right? Children at the sand, if you're at the beach, it's a beautiful time here in Ontario, Canada. It's very, very hot right now. Lots of people are at the beaches. If we were at the beach right now and we were watching children on the beach, what would they be doing? They wouldn't just be sitting there waiting and worrying about what anybody else thought, right? First, if they were laying on a blanket, and they might sit up and they might start to play with their toes in the sand. And then they would see, oh, this is fun because there was some water there on top of the sand and it started to make clumps. And then they might watch somebody else playing and doing something fun, and they might think, hey, I could do that, but I could do it my way. And maybe they don't have a pail, but they see a cup. So they grab a cup, right? And they just jump in. They jump in and they start to touch things and they start to just see which direction different things could go in. They don't stand back and evaluate and criticize themselves for the thoughts that they are having. They step into their desire to have fun and to play. Do you know what, my friends? This is exactly the method that I used with a dear friend, Carol Glover. Carol Glover and I got together in 2013. I had been in my own business coaching for a few years, but I was at that stage where I felt like I lacked energy, I lacked excitement, I lacked creativity, and I felt like my business wasn't going to sustain itself because it wasn't expanding and it felt flat, right? So we had decided we were going to get together rather, and we were going to figure something out. We didn't know what we were going to do, but we knew that we needed to figure something out. So she came to my home and we got all together, we had our notebooks, and we sat at my desk at my in my office, and it was the deadest air. Like, we just kind of looked at each other and we had no idea what to even say to each other. And we were focusing, we were trying to focus so we could come up with something. And there was nothing there. So I said, hey, why don't we go for a walk? Why don't we just go for a walk? I lived, about a half a kilometer away from the water, beautiful Lake Ontario. So we walked down to the water, and who doesn't love water, right? We walked down to the water and we saw kids playing. There wasn't sand that they could play in, but we saw them playing. We saw there was birds, and there were, all different types of birds, and there were people laughing and having a great time, and there was no heavy energy at all. So we immediately shifted the energy that we had created into something that was much more light and easy and playful. Well, we walked around there for a while, and that is when the juices of our creativity started to become unlocked. That's exactly what occurred. That's when we realized we needed to have some play in whatever we were creating. So we knew that we wanted to bring people together. We wanted to have some kind of group. We were both loved business, so we wanted to bring business in, but have it be in a different way. Well, the outcome of that was a day of massive creativity. We had hula hoops. We had chalk where we had people draw on the back patio that I had with their chalk. We had all sorts of different creative things that we did. And in between, we were talking about business and creativity and how we can each tap into our creativity. Now, that course that we did that day was so much fun. It never had the energy of do it again. It didn't happen. But what it did for both of us is it started to lead us down the path of infusing more play and more creativity in our businesses. And interestingly enough, I was talking to Carol today, And it's been 12 years since we did that, course. And time has really, really flown, but it was a key moment for us to be able to learn how to be present with our business in a different way. How many of you out there have something that you love to do, something that a hobby perhaps that you have, something that you're really, really good at, and you just love doing it. You enjoy it. Maybe you're a golfer. You have to be creative when you're a golfer, right? Maybe you love to bake or you love to cook. I mean, anybody in the kitchen that loves to do something, you're absolutely creative. Maybe you're someone, I know somebody who loves to do quilts. My mother used to love to do quilts. That's incredibly creative. Maybe you're someone who loves to knit, or you love to play with children. You love to guide children. All of these things require you to tap into your creativity. But here's the thing, when you're doing something that you love, the creativity naturally flows. You don't have to work at it, right? It comes to you with such ease that before you know it, you're creating and you're enjoying it and you're not stuck up in your head worrying about it. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to list down what are some of the things that I like to do, that I have fun doing. Make a list of at least, hold on, my nose is very itchy at the moment. Make a list of at least 10 things that you love to do. And then after you do that list, I want you to go back and I want you to write beside it, how am I creative when I am doing this? How am I creative? And look at this. Because right now, what we need to do is we need to show you that you are creative. You're very, very, very creative. One of the things that I love to do is I love to work on computers. Today, when I was working on the computer, I was just telling my producer that I got my emails down to 6 emails. Being creative with my emails and keeping organized, that's play to me. That brings me so much joy. And that's creative for me. I've worked with people, with clients, and they're flabbergasted at how I can do this. And I teach them how to be creative with their emails. I teach them how to be creative with their creations, perhaps their website or their systems, just different things on the computer that they're not as adept at as I am. But for me, that's fun and pleasure, and I can see my creativity in it. I often think what I'm doing is I'm dancing with my mouse around the computer, around different things that I am creating. It feels like a dance. I have a technical individual on our team. His name is Zach Metcalf. If you're listening, Zach, big shout out to you. Zach is so incredibly creative with technology. And to watch this person, he's wild on the computer. Like he goes like, I can't even watch him. And I think I go fast. He's so creative. His mind is creating and he plays and he creates with technology with the computer. He's successful at it because he loves it. He's not pushing himself to do it. So for you as an entrepreneur, we need to, first of all, help you to understand you're incredibly creative. The how you're creative is the key right now. Then it's a matter of acknowledging that creativity and beginning to infuse that play energy that you have when you're creative in other things that you want to create in business. Sometimes we actually have to put ourselves in the position of needing to be creative because we won't give it the time and the attention. So many of us, again, when we are pushed to the end, like, if you have an exam or something is due the next day for school, right? When do we get creative? At the 11th hour, right? When do people often, I think about a lot of people who are speakers. I know many of them are scrambling in the last 48 hours to get creative. What if We could be creative and it not need to be pressure. Or do you like the pressure? Are you better under pressure? Does the pressure actually give you the rush that you require for you to be creative? This is where you need to get to know yourself and you need to examine, what is it that really gets me excited and gets me moving? What is it that I love about being rushed? What is it that I love about last minute? Do you love last minute? Or are you telling yourself you hate it and you avoid it? And then at the last minute, you pull out the magic and you create amazingly. This is where it's so critical that you identify who you are in your creative zone, who you are when it's time for you to be creative. I love all of that knowledge about you. When you have that knowledge as your coach, I would work with you to identify, okay, cool. Now we know what really goes on for you. Now, how are we going to leverage this so that you can have more creativity and you can actually leverage that in your business? Create the things and the robustness of your business utilizing the tools that you have, because you're a unique being. Your creativity is going to be different than someone else's creativity. So part of understanding all of this is really getting to know who you are, getting to know what it is about you that makes you unique. And it's not about the what, it's about the how. This show is all about the how. And understanding creativity and understanding how you function in creativity is going to be the thing that is going to bring you to the next level in your business. We are up for our next break of the show. Please stick around. I would love to be able to answer more of your questions and talk more about what's really going on for you and what we can be doing to support you to grow more in your business. You're listening to Inspired Choices. I'm your host, Christine McIver, here on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Oh boy, are we having fun tonight? So if you're watching live, you'll know that I have been having a really itchy nose. And it didn't happen until I got on the show, until the show started. That is a telltale sign to me that my guides, my business creativity guides, are with me and they're trying to catch my attention. It often happens not the most appropriate time when you're doing a video recording. and it is what it is. But so just stick with me. I'm not actually picking my nose. I'm just itching my nose. I just want to be really clear about that. All right. So if you're just joining, or if you really have been doing a lot of other things, I want to review what we've talked about so far in today's show. So this show is all about the the how, the how you're being creative, what creativity looks like for you, and about allowing yourself to do something different so you can create something different, right? If your imagination is the key, and we know your imagination is the key to creativity, it's time for you to play. It's time for you to play with your imagination. How many adults actually play with their imagination? We're so often told we need to be serious. Well, if you are playing with your imagination, you're allowing anything to come through. Do you actually have a book that you write down and play with your imagination? Do you write down the possibilities of what you could create? Go wild. Don't hold back. Actually book a time to be creative. Book an imagination, have an imagination station, and get creative. Play with your imagination. Be ridiculous with your imagination. It's in that space of completely going outside and coloring outside the lines of our reality is where we get creative. And this is where we can spark new ideas. If you are looking for new ideas, if you're looking for expanded ideas, you have to color outside the lines. You've got to get into a different energy in order to have some of that imagination come through. Imagine if you were playing with your imagination and just being wild, just being wild. Like, oh my gosh, I would love to have my own radio show. I'd love to have a podcast. I don't even know what a podcast is. This is me, by the way, 14 years ago. Oh my gosh, to have my own radio show. What does that look like? And then podcast, what does that mean? You mean the show that I just did is going to be available other places where people can listen to it? Oh my gosh. And then we can actually have an app, a phone app that people can listen to the shows live, and they can listen to the replays after. Oh my gosh, I remember that. That was March the 17th, 3 years ago. 3 years ago? 3 years ago. I was over the moon. It blew me away. And I had to, in order for me to allow that to come in as a possibility for me to figure out how to do that, I had to dream. I had to play with my imagination. I never, ever, ever thought that this would be something that would be part of my life. Oh my gosh, I started to play with my imagination, and before long, that started to come in. I had been approached by a woman that was doing TV production in-house. Like, she would go to people's homes and she would teach them how to have their own TV show. And so that's how I started my own TV show. I started that back in 2017. And it was a lot of fun. I was really nervous in the beginning. It was a lot of work, more work than it is today for us. But as I continued to do TV shows in studios and in my home, I kept asking, like, oh, what would it be like? How could I bring this to the hosts on the network? And I was being creative in ideas and how to do that with a producer that I worked with. I was being creative with business partners that we partner up to come up with ideas. I was working with coaches in coming up with ideas. And before you know it, because it was part of my imagination and I could see all of my hosts having their own TV show, before you knew it, I was able to figure out, after over a year of concentrated trying to have all of the connection points work together, it came together. And now every single one of our hosts have their own TV show. They have their own TV show. It's live stream. This show is being live streamed right now to our TV platform, into Facebook, and into YouTube. That blows my mind. But that came out of my imagination. You see, it's not that there are not solutions in the world, but you've got to imagine it first in order for you to be able to receive the possibility of it being created. It requires your imagination. So you need to get creative with your ideas. You need to imagine, if you're brand new to your own business, imagine what it would be like to have $1,000 in sales in 1 month. Imagine, oh my gosh, how amazing would that be to have clients who trust me, to have clients who refer people to me. That would be fantastic. And imagine that happening. Play it out like a movie in your mind. Allow those possibilities to creep up, whatever it is, 10,000 a month, 100,000 a month. Play, get crazy, get wild. Allow yourself to dream. You see, creativity is connected to play, and play is connected to dreaming and to your heart. It's really about allowing the love for you to come through in play. If you would allow yourself to love yourself and to know that if there is a business on your heart, if there is prosperity in your heart, it's available to you. And the key, the real link to this is your creativity. It's allowing yourself to do what's required to get there. Now, I'm not saying that you just play and everything comes to you, but ideas start to come. And once you have ideas, that's when you can start to lean in and look at the possibilities of creating. That's where you can start to work with a coach like myself. I love working with my clients who have these ideas. And then my idea brain starts to dance with their idea brain, and we come up with the how we're going to make it work. This is how you can play, you can up your creativity, and that's when your business is going to start to grow and expand. And when you're in that space, when you unlock that creativity link, when you allow that imagination to lean into you and your business, watch the floodgates open. I'll never forget. It was about, oh my gosh, it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I would message my team and I would just say, hey guys, I've got an idea. And they would literally say, oh no, oh gosh, now what? Because I felt like a creativity machine coming up with all these ideas of things that I wanted to and that were popping for me and they were exciting. I leaned into my creativity and I allowed it to continue. And to this day, I keep asking, what else? What else? Show me, show me. That is my mantra. What else? What else? Show me, show me. And things continue to be created. I can't imagine, I couldn't imagine 5 years ago where my business would be. I certainly am blown away, especially in the last 2 years, at where my business is today. And I know that I'm not done because I commit to myself, I commit to my business, I commit to my clients and my future clients. I want to be so creative and create an organization where I support other people in bringing their voices and their businesses alive, that I'm going to continue to create. And it's fun for me. It's not that energy of I have to. It's that energy of what else is possible here, really. How could I have so much fun and play that it really contributes to me and to my clients and my future clients? Right? So stepping into play, stepping into creativity, asking you to suspend your doubt, asking you to suspend your worry. Get lost in the creativity like a child gets lost in the sand. Get lost in what is actually wanting to come to you and to your business. Get lost in, there are so many amazing people in the world creating. Why not me? Why not me? Don't allow doubt to take over. You have everything, exactly the same opportunities as anyone else. Your creativity is there for you to mold like a baker molds dough. Your creativity is willing to come through you if you will open up to the possibilities. And your imagination is available to you 24/7 whenever you want to go into possibilities. Take yourself out by the water. Take yourself for a walk in the woods. Watch children playing. Listen to someone who's telling a story of when they were young and allow yourself to dream. Get a good book that really pulls you in, that you forget what time it is and how long you've been reading. Allow yourself to be captured in the possibilities of creativity. Those things can assist in unlocking your imagination as well. Well, we are up to our last break of the show. We're going to take another break. When we get back, we're going to wrap all of this up. I hope you've been enjoying this show. And if you have, and you have to leave, I'm going to ask you if you could please go over to iTunes and you could please give us a 5-star review. When you do that, just search Inspired Choices with Christine McIver. When you do that, you are assisting in getting this information out to others that need it. And I will be incredibly grateful. All right, you're listening to Inspired Choices. I'm your host, Christine McIver. We're on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Well, my friends, it has been a really exciting show tonight, really sharing with you all about creativity, your imagination, and all of the possibilities. Let me ask you, do you believe that you can become creative? Or have you been locked in the thoughts of, I'm not creative? I used to say that all of the time. I'm not creative. I'm not creative. Well, I had a good friend at the time for many years that was an artist. And this individual could create things that I couldn't. And so I was comparing myself to what she was doing. And wasn't very kind to myself about that. And then I looked back on some childhood pictures and I saw that I would hook rugs and I would embroider. I used to sew. I absolutely love to bake bread. To this day, I love baking. If you if you're just hearing this first time, I talk about this all the time. I love to bake. I love to create pastries, especially. And one of my favorite things is to make pies and butter tarts. They are my specialty. When I am in the kitchen and I am doing that, I am in my element like you wouldn't believe. Time is gone. It's not work for me at all. In fact, a number of people said, Christine, you're so good at this. Why don't you make pies on the side? And it could be a side business. And I thought about it. I honestly did, because I know they're delicious. Just like when you're creative with something, it always turns out great if you're happy and you're joyful when you're doing it. But I thought, no, you know what? I wanted to keep that as something that I don't do to make money. I wanted to keep it as something that I just do when I want to play, when I want to be creative. But the thing is that there were so many times that I believed I wasn't creative. I looked around at what other people were doing, especially in the early years of my business. I was comparing myself so much to what other people were doing. I mean, I couldn't imagine the first show that I ever did of Inspired Choices. I was so nervous. I didn't hardly know what to talk about. And here I am, 14 years later, I'm still talking. I'm still doing shows and I'm talking about new things. I couldn't have imagined that at that time, but I had a desire on my heart. So desire plays into this as well. But what is so interesting is that when you allow yourself, there's a little bit of holding yourself accountable to step up and to give it effort and to give it time to grow. When you have that and you're willing to pull in your imagination, you're willing to see yourself in a new light, you're willing to suspend all of those negative things that you say about yourself. Let that go. Let it go. It's not serving you. And even if you have evidence for that to be true, that was yesterday. That doesn't have to define your today, right? Be here right now with your desires. Be here right now with your imagination and be willing to play. The pleasure that you're going to receive from play, especially when you incorporate that into your business, is going to infuse so much prosperity, both in the wealth of things you're going to create and the money that you are also going to generate from that creativity. This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to do something different, but it requires you to be willing to look at yourself in a new light, to look at yourself with different patterning in your brain. All right. Look at where you're creative. Look at the things that you do that are so cool. They don't have to be some miraculous big thing. They could be something very small. Like maybe you are amazingly creative with cards, with playing cards. Maybe you're creative at playing chess. Maybe you're creative in different ways that people don't normally look at and go, wow, you're so creative there. Look at where you play, where your imagination gets to really come loose and have fun. Then ask yourself, how can I be infusing that? Or what part of what I'm doing there can I bring over? Can I bridge over into my business and allow myself to have more fun and play and creativity and prosperity in my business? My friends, I want to encourage you to reach out. You can email me, Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. If you have ideas that you would like to bring to fruition, if you are struggling with some of this, or you have a business that you're ready to take it to the next level, I would love to support you to do that. We can have a conversation and we can look at what it is that you're looking for and what it is that I can bring to the table to support you. Always, always, always be open to the possibility of having conversations, because you don't know until you ask some of the question, what else is available for you? I didn't know that this is something that I wanted to do until someone asked me, have you ever thought about having your own radio show? I hadn't. But look at where I am today, when I was open to the possibility of listening to what was being presented to me. Your business is presenting things to you right now. Your business is speaking to you through me. Be open to the possibilities with your business. Be open to your imagination growing and really contributing to the dance of your reality. Until next week, my friends, I want you to remember you can always make another choice. We'll be back next week with another show that's going to contribute to you, your business, and creating a new reality. Until then, take good care of yourself and remember, start to
Thank
imagine.
you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, be willing to choose what you really desire. This is your life, making the choices that bring you all that you desire.